Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching across the globe. It's lovely to have your company on, well, what is Thursday morning here in the UK. You are currently watching Wake Up Call, of course. We've got another jam-packed day, as we usually do, on Crafters TV. Before I go into all that, just to let you know, our YouTube is back up and running again. Whoa-hey! I know many of you yesterday were having to watch via Totally Tiffany's YouTube because those gremlins were in that system once again. And to be fair, they weren't even our gremlins. But do you know what? We've got it sorted. The team have been working so hard throughout, well, last night into this morning, and it's back up and running. So don't think you'll need to do much. There may be a couple of you that'll just need to dot back in and just subscribe again. But other than that, you'll probably be absolutely fine. You can watch all of everything that we do, no problem at all, on our YouTube. So what can you watch on our YouTube? As I say, Wake Up Call. Then later on in the day, we've got that craft vault. We're opening up that craft vault. Who are we going to be opening that craft vault with? Someone I've not worked with for a wee while, and someone that we've been getting a lot of messages saying, "Where's Jan? She's here."
I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Oh my goodness, yeah. I have had a lot of people contact me on my my sort of social media to say, was I okay? And yes, thank you. I love to read all the messages. I've tried to reply to everybody that has messaged me. And a lot of you know that I was just having some personal time out because, yes, finally my second little grandson arrived very promptly on his due date. We did a little bit of research. Apparently there's only about 4.4% of babies are born on their due date. So really? My daughter loves anything like that. So she was absolutely over the moon that she'd fell into that 4.4%. Yeah. So yeah, let us know if your baby was born on due dates. So neither of mine were. One was early and one was late. But yeah, so I've got Toby, obviously, it will be 3 at the beginning of next year. 3. And we've now got baby Alfie. And, you know, he's as good as gold, bless him, so far. Yeah. She's done really well. So our mum's doing great. They're off out and about everywhere now.
That's so good.
Yes, so I'm grandma. I'm nanny. I ended up being nanny. It was supposed to be Nana Jan. Okay. And I know a lot of the customers still call me Nana Jan, which I don't mind. But little Toby decided that I was going to be nanny. Nanny, where are you, Nanny? So yeah, I thought, I don't care what he calls me, I just love it. Yeah. So nanny to 2 little boys now. So yes, I feel very, very privileged and very lucky, I must admit. So yeah, producer Johnny just said, I've come to work for a rest.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thrilled to be back. So yes, it has been about 3 weeks since I was here at the at Crafters TV, but I'm back now. And as a lot of you know, I only work part-time. So I'm usually up here a couple of times during the month. You'll see me on Hobby Maker TV next week if you're tuning into them. So yeah, I'm back on normal schedule
now. You are indeed.
But yes, it's been lovely to actually have just that little bit of time.
It will be. It will be. Yeah. Well, yes. So good to have you back. I know already comments coming through saying it's so good to see you back.
Thank you very much, guys.
And you've come back to a jam-packed day.
I have. Haven't we? Spectrum Noir. What can I say? You know, I was really excited when I saw this because you know that I love my colouring. I love anything that's to do with colouring, whether it be watercolour, alcohol colour, the different colouring mediums that we've got. So you know that Spectrum Noir is our umbrella heading for everything colour. And we've got sort of quite a few items on the show today that are sort of 50% off grade, which I know I popped on my social media. If anybody's out there ready for some Christmas shopping,
good call.
Whether it's for yourself or your crafty friends, I just think that is an amazing offer. So most of the Spectrum Noir products that we've got on today, apart from our Harmony ink pad range, anything else that we show you is 50% off, plus your Club Inspire discount. Exactly, so a real bargain. So I have got the watercolour markers, I've got some of the aqua, and we've just picked out certain ones, so it's not the whole range of Spectrum Noir. So don't if you do pop on the website, don't think it applies to everything. It's just the items that we've got in the show. So yeah, these are going to come up on Craft Vault at 6 o'clock tonight here in the UK, but I'm going to do you some little technique demos this morning. So we've got those lovely watercolour, aqua colour pens on, where you can do that lovely technique. I'm going to do a couple of, you know me, bit different.
You like different things.
I like to do something a bit different. But again, I just think this particular pack is sort of almost those, you can get those sepia tones in there.
You can,
and I just think it's a real nice change rather than doing something in different colours to just keep it toned down. We've also got some of the acrylic markers. We've got a set of those on. So we went through the different ranges and picked out one set of products. Coming up to Christmas, difference with the acrylic ones, we've picked that essential set, which has got the gold and silver, great for Christmas stuff, and the black and white. So nice neutral colours in that one. We've also got a set of the art liners. So again, you know, if you like making your watercolour backgrounds and then doing the writing, things like that. We've also got some of the metallic markers coming up as well. We've got a set of those on the show. So that's colouring with them. But anything like that that's a bit different, I just think they're great for, even if it's just writing your Christmas cards and things like that.
Absolutely.
Or if you wanted to make something a little bit alternative and have a black background, the metallic pens come up great on there.
They do, don't they?
Then we've got some glitter markers as well. So what we've done, we went through the Spectrum Noir range and we've just picked one item from each section to give you that fantastic offer. So if you're Club Inspire and you're Platinum, you're going to get 50% off the items we've got on the show, and then your 20% club discount on top of that.
Absolutely.
So that's a really good saving for stocking up. But that's not all we've got on, Craig, is it? I think we've got some other goodies as well, haven't we, lined up for you?
Just bringing in a few other items that you've absolutely loved, so we're just going to sneak them in when it comes to Wake Up Call this morning. Just to say it as well, so yes, we're here for Wake Up Call, and then myself and Jan are going to be back again for Craft Vault later on. In the middle, there's no show on Crafters TV because Ben and Sarah, they're going to be on the Crafters Companion USA Facebook page with the HSN preview. And I know, like many, and like myself, Jan, I dot in and I have a look to see what we're going to be coming very, very soon on Crafters TV.
It's a good way, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good way of finding out. So yeah, just dip in and out.
Absolutely. Right, we've got Caitlin on the socials this morning. Trisha is saying good morning, Craig, Jan, crafty friends. Liz R is saying hi, crafty friends. Craig, Jan and team, social team at Crafters Companion. Glad you managed to sort out YouTube. Terry is saying, yay, all fixed and my library is also replenished, saved all my videos. That's good to know.
That's good to know, yeah.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Charlotte is saying, hi, Craig and Jan. I've really fallen down that crafting rabbit hole. This show is so inspirational. That's what we're trying to do as well. So whether it's a masterclass or even if it's a cartload or a craft vault or a wake-up call, we try and bring something inspirational in. Yeah. Obviously, that's what our masterclasses are about, but even for craft vaults, like you say, we try and bring them in as well.
It is, yeah, it is. And I like looking at that alternative. What else can products do? I think I've sort of got known for that. It's like, yeah, we'll always demonstrate the concept that that product was designed for. But I like sort of having a play and testing things out and seeing what else they can do. And that's more or less what I've brought this morning, just to show you some techniques on Wake Up Call this morning. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, if you actually want to get a head start to see what we're going to be showing and get them into your baskets, maybe even get them checked out ASAP, because we've not got big numbers of all these stocks, you need to go across to our website, of course, crafterscompanion.co.uk.com.au. That's where you can watch all the shows today and every single day on Crafters TV. Of course, you can go along, you can have a look at Shop the Day. Shop the Day, you're going to find everything that we are showcasing between Wake Up Call and Craft Vault as well. As you're down there, you'll see some of the new items, such as Sarah's Through the Looking Glass. Always have a peruse, have a look at the other shop brands, because you will find Creative Expressions, Hunky Dory, all your different brands, for instance, Paper Dynamics on there as well as your download sections. Always check that out, because you can print and you can craft, and there's even like booklets for your Ultimate Pro scoreboards, etc., if you just need a little update, all there on our website. Rightio, let's get started. We are going to have a look at our Tricolour Aquas. So as you can see, I've got them all the way throughout. So my left, Tricolour, that one, there we go. It's funny enough, it's the very first one. Go figure, that one, eh? Go figure, that one.
Let's start at the very beginning.
Start at the beginning, yeah. Do you know something?
It's a very good place to start, Craig.
It is, it is. And it's what's a team effort, because in my notes, I started writing in order. Johnny came in, set them out in order, and I came along and forgot the order. So, Tricolour Aqua Markers. This is your 3-pack here. Now, this is your essential neutrals. Now, just to point out as well, exactly as Jan said as well, it's a nice selection of some of these Spectrum Noir collections. So it's not going to be all the tricolours on the website. We've cherry-picked some of the best ones, this one being the neutrals. This one, so it's your 3 pens, 9 colours in total though. Jan, £4.99. £4.99.
No brainer. And that's without the extra discount,
Exactly.
isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Platinum, £3.99
Yep.
or $5.99. That's giving you, you're saving on today's price of 50%.
Yep.
As you say, it comes down less when it comes to platinum.
Yeah. Or even if you're a new member today, get joining Club Inspire.
Exactly.
It's free to join, and you still get that on your very first order. You still get that 20% discount. So you would get that $3.99, $5.99 price as well.
It's fab.
Crazy.
Completely free to join.
Crazy.
Doesn't take long at all. And as Jan says, 20% off your first order. This is how they are going to be looking. So this is your tri-colour, so aqua. So the pens, the colours have been put together that they work beautifully. Yes, they're the essential neutrals. However, you are going to be able to get lots of different shades because they are water-based. So of course, your paintbrush in water, or your water brush, or your clear sparkle overlay, many different shades that you're going to be able to get. You've got your earthy neutral, rich neutral, and also your grey neutrals as well. That's your tricolour aqua. $3.99 platinum or $5.99. Well, I wonder what one that's going to be. Yes, Johnny? Next one along. Absolutely. There we go. Got that one right. There we go. See if you've mixed one of these up, Johnny, and if I get into a flow and you're going to go, no, I've mixed them up. Bet you have. Bet you have. Here we go. This one now, this is your acrylic paint marker. This one now is your essentials. Once again, I'm going to, gosh, that's even better, platinum price. So $3.99 or $5.49. That's your today's price. Everyone would pay, saving 50%. If you are Club Inspire and your platinum, £3.19 or $4.39 for your essential acrylic paint markers, which, Jan, go on an absolute multitude of layers.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll go through that. I'm going to go through as many of these products as we can during the course of the morning. So yeah, I'll show you some ideas as to what you can use those for.
I love within this one we've got the white. I
Yes.
love having that white, using that one. Of course,
Works
yes, your
brilliant
darker
as a
tones.
highlighter, doesn't it?
Does.
It's hard to find a good white
It
highlighter
absolutely
pen,
is.
I think, and that does the job.
It does, you know, and even that slightest dot, you don't get any of that colour from the background. It's a strong white
Yep.
that you can create your highlight. Silver, gold, black, white, all four of them there. £3.99 or $5.49 for you guys stateside. Right, aqua pens. Let's have a look at these ones here. This is your 12-pack of your primary aqua pens. Now, they are aqua water-based, so that means you're going to get a variety of different shades by drawing out that colour, whether, of course, it is, as I said before, paintbrush and water, water brush, or of course your clear sparkle overlay. But the 12 of them, they are double-ended. Now, $11.49 or $16.49. Platinum comes under £10, £9.19 or $13.19. That one is for all 12 of these ones. They are water-based. It's the full set of the primary tones as well. I mean, another cracking price. If you're just wanting to think about getting into watercolouring or even a gift, Jan, it's a nice little set.
That's what I was thinking. This time of year, if you want to treat yourself, or if you've got crafty friends, or you're doing like a crafty Secret Santa or anything like that, these are great prices for that kind of thing. And the recipient doesn't have to know that you got 50%
No, not at all.
off them, of course, do they?
Not at all. But you can see they're going in deep straight off the bat and then drawing that colour out, and you're even going to get lighter and lighter and lighter. You know, if we just carried on going all the way down, it would be like an A3 size sheet of paper.
It would, and of course with that primary set, you've therefore got the ability to make the secondary colours as well, because you can blend the colours. So when
100%.
looking at the, you know, sort of the pinks and the yellows to do the oranges, etc. So yeah, much more than just those 12 original colours with the watercolours.
Really is. And then they would work well with what we're ready to show you now,
Yep.
which is also water-based. This one being your Aqua Blend pencils. These ones, half price for all 24 of them. They are your essential collections, £12.49 or $14.97. Also, platinum comes down to under £10, $9.99 or $11.98 for that full set of the essential collection. And once again, Jan, by drawing out that colour, as well as lots of different techniques that you can do.
Absolutely, yep. And I like it's got those neutral ones right at the end there, because those are great for adding depth and things to your colours. So yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Arts grade pencils, of course, when it comes to these ones here, but platinum price. Now,
Crazy.
Platinum price, that's 41 pence a pencil.
That is crazy. You couldn't buy them anywhere else like that, could you?
No, you could not at all. All those colours, as Jan was saying before about the aqua pens, but the same with these ones here. Get the gradient, the different layers in between as well. Really lovely set. If you are thinking about starting with watercolouring, myself, I do think, for me personally, I always like to start with the pencils, because I don't know, it's a bit more fulfilling for me anyway, with the different techniques that you can do. What about some art liners? Now, you might want to go in and do little bits of detail on top of your colouring. Maybe you want to do some Zentangling. We've got a 6-pack of your art liners here. Now, you've got your 6 different size nibs. We do have a brush, 0.8, 0.5, 0.3, 0.1 and 0.05. £6.49, $8.99. That's giving you that saving, of course, of 50%. However, platinum price comes down to $5.19 or $7.19. These are even nice for a little detail around the edge of your card or your project, Jan.
They are, and they're great for touching up. If you've stamped something and you missed a little bit, they're great for touching up just sort of in line artwork in the stamps as well. And once they're dry, they're completely waterproof, so it doesn't matter whether you use them with your watercolour products or your alcohol products, they will work with both. If you like to draw, you could use that as your medium to draw with.
You could.
Yep.
You absolutely could. Lovely set of 6 different sizes.
I use them a lot in my Zentangle book, I must admit. I ought to have brought that with me. I never thought about that.
Yeah, nice to have
I
for
do
them.
use them. And the lower the number, the finer the point on them. So you can get that differentiation between a thicker line and a thinner line with them, Yeah, and then that beautiful brush stroke.
And there's, you know, lots of things, not only just on our YouTube, but if you go onto YouTube and you look at other people that put in art liners or that, so many ideas across for you to follow. Right, we're going to have a look at classiques now. Now, remember right at the start, Jan did say we've got a lovely selection of different colouring mediums throughout the show, as well as the craft vault. This one here is your classiques. 12 of these ones. This one here is giving you your double nib. You're getting your bullet as well as your chisel nib here. So you can do your blending, you can do your 3-tone blending. Classic, 12 pence. This is the bright, £9.99 or $14.97. Platinum price is $7.99 or $11.98, which works out at 66 pence a pen.
Crazy prices, isn't it? Crazy.
That's crazy. It's crazy. It's bonkers. It's ridiculous. But you know what? Grab them.
Yep.
Grab them. Maybe you've not gone into alcohol colouring as of yet. Maybe you've not tried the classic. Absolutely perfect way to start off. Already we're 18 minutes in and this is already the busiest item of the show, which I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. If you think that's good, wait till you see these ones. Colour blend pencils. Are you ready for this? It's coming up. There you go. 24-piece primary. $12.49, $17.47. Platinum price, Jan.
It doesn't happen very often, this. I must admit, if you're in the market for these, it's like, go for it. I mean, we don't have a massive stock of them, but yeah, absolutely crazy prices with them. I mean, that platinum price is under the £10 again, isn't it?
It really is.
Crazy.
It really is.
For a full set of artist quality colouring pencils. Yeah, we'll have a little look at those again in more detail later in the show.
Now, when I was saying earlier on with your tricolour aqua, your aqua pens, your aqua pencils, I touched upon about your clear sparkle overlay, that you can pull that colour out to give you a lovely sparkle. Well, guess what? And guess what? They're half price as well. I know, clear sparkle overlay, 3-pack, half price, Jan. $6.49, $9.49, saving of 50%, of course, but platinum price, £5.19, $7.59.
Didn't matter what else I chose today, I'd be putting one of those in my basket anyway. They're like a core product to me. I use them for all sorts of different things. We're going to use them again, as I say, with the aqua markers later,
Yeah, so I'm not surprised again that, as John just saying now, that they've also shot up. I think if some of you didn't actually see them first on the website, they're all there shot the day, go and have a look. But clear sparkle overlays, you were saying, we tend to use these quite a lot within our colouring as well, so give that a shot. Right, let's do a few comments first of all. We've got Sue is saying congratulations on the birth of your grandson.
Thank you.
Jan. We've got Melanie saying, good morning from a stormy Florida. So happy to see Jan back. And that's actually a good point as well. Stay safe, everyone across at that side, because I know you're being hit hard with the hurricane. So I know it's serious. I seen it on our news this morning.
It is. It's always a worry.
Always is. Always is. Kirsty is saying, Jan, congratulations. Audrey is saying, good morning, Craig and Jan, and all my crafty peeps. Dina is saying, the best job in the world is being a grandma. Jan, mine are 11 and 7.
Oh, well done.
Yeah,
it is, honestly. It's like a whole different level. It's like a mum plus because you can give them back again.
Give them back. Hype them with sugar and then give them back. That's what I hear a lot from my friends' parents. Sandra's saying, Craig, my Christmas decoration showstopper arrived this morning. Whoop, whoop. Perfect. Anything that you've got from any of our launches, of course, specifically birthday as well, whenever you've made them, pop them on the Crafters TV social, tag us, Crafters Companion TV, Crafters TV, etc., because we do love to see what you make.
I've got the craft along with the 3D decorations coming up later this month, so that's one to keep your eyes open. I've got a couple of ideas I want to try out with them.
Oh, there you go. Keep that one in mind. That's going to be coming soon as well. Yes, keep your comments coming in. We'll read a few more just shortly, of course, but thank you for the love for seeing Jan back as well. Right, let's have a look. Tricolour Aquas, number 1. I don't know what's wrong with my numbers today. Right, here we go. Tricolour Aquas. This one being your essential. So Jan's away to have a wee look at these ones here. 3-piece, essential neutrals, $4.99 or $7.49. This is where it's giving you the saving of 50%, of course. Once again, Jan, platinum price, $3.99 or $5.99. What an incredible...
For 9 different colours.
Yes.
You know, yeah, there's only 3 pens in there, but of course, any of you that are familiar with that system, there are 3 different colours in each pen. Because these are watercolours, we can offer that different colour spectrum, and we've actually picked colours that blend nicely together. So this is how they come in their box, and you've got a visual on the back of the 3 sets. It gives them, you've got earthy neutral, rich neutrals, and grey neutrals. The grey ones are always a good one to have.
Yeah.
And you've got like a blue grey and a warm brown grey, and those are great for sort of adding shadow or adding depth to colours and things like that. So I've taken mine out of the packet there, put that one to one side, and for those of you that are not familiar with them as a pen, I thought we'd just have a look at them to start off with. And they come in the form of that beautiful brush nib. So you've got the ability to put a lot of colour down in one go with these. So we've got 3, as I say, different colours, which is where you get your tricolour from. So this particular one's got burgundy, it's got tan, and I'll show you these on the card in a second, and then when we flick it round, you've got sepia at the back there. So 3 completely different colours. Unlike the alcohol markers that have 3 shades of the same colour, these are completely different colours. In this one, for example, you've got chestnut brown, you've got a desert brown, and you've got topaz, which is a gorgeous golden yellow colour. We're going to use that one in a second. And then the greys, as I say, you've got a mixture of those sort of blue greys, and then the warmer red greys in there. So yeah, what we're going to do with these, I just thought I'd show you on a piece of paper just to start off with. I mean, anything that is watercolour is made to use with water. So I've just got myself a piece of our watercolour card, best medium to work on with this. I'm just going to pop a little bit of water down onto my page, and I'm going to show you that burgundy is the most gorgeous colour. So again, just to drag that out for you and show you that you can go direct to your card, but when you start to drag this out, you can see that you're getting that sort of fade on it. And it doesn't matter how long ago you applied the colour to the paper, you can always reactivate a watercolour with water. So even if you sort of did this today and came back to it tomorrow, you would still be able to reactivate that original colour that's on the page there. So you can actually make yourself like a little transportable palette with these if you don't want to take the whole set of pens out with you. Scribble a little bit out onto some cardstock and you can actually start and use that as your palette. You can use them direct to paper. So if you wanted to actually do some kind of, colouring direct to your cardstock, again, I would still work on the watercolour cardstock, but you can use them direct to the paper itself. What I'm going to do for you this morning is one of my favourite. I've got a couple of techniques for this, and it's the couple of favourites. And I've done this one before, but I thought I would bring it back for you today. So I've actually done a little bit of stamping with one of our Resist background stamps. So you'll find these on the website. This one's Swirling Florals, and what I've done, I've stamped it onto a piece of cardstock. You can just see it catch the light there.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, and I've actually embossed this with white embossing powder. So I've transferred that design onto my cardstock, and then I'm going to bring in one of those old favourites that I've done, as I say before, and I've got my set of pens here. And I'm also going to bring in my glycerin. Okay. So this changes the format of the ink. Well, not change the format, it changes the way we can use the ink in the pen. If I wanted to sort of use a ink applicator, so I always keep my ones that I've used glycerin in a little packet because it keeps the glycerin moist.
That's a good tip. That's really good.
You don't need to do it with your ordinary applicators, but with the ones that you've had the glycerin in, it means that they stay moist. Right. And what it means is, by adding a little bit of glycerin, is that we can actually make the pens behave like an ink. So if I wanted to use my ink applicator on here, if you sort of started trying to colour, the end of here, you'd just end up with a real mess. But by actually using a little bit of glycerin, it keeps the ink wet for longer and allows you to then work on the surface of the card. So what I'm going to do is just use my glass mat as a carrier. Okay. If you don't have a glass mat, you can use like a ceramic tile, piece of acetate, anything like that that's a non-porous surface. And I'm just going to take some of the colours out. We're going to go with that lovely chestnut colour as well, which is in the same pen. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I just love the burgundy in here as well. So I don't need quite as much of that one, but that lovely rich, especially for this time of year, that one's gorgeous, isn't it? And then I've got an ink applicator and a sponge for each colour. Okay. So all I'm going to do, in here I've got glycerin, which we've got a massive, massive bottle here in the studio. We do, don't we? It is huge when you look at this. And you can buy this in most chemists. Mm-hmm. So it's actually in the aisle where all the cough medicine is. You can buy food safe glycerin, but they will charge you more money for it because it's food safe. It doesn't need to be for crafting. Okay. So go for the cheapest chips one, which is usually somewhere in the region of the cough medicine, because it is an ingredient in cough medicine. Oh. So I've just got decanted a little bit. I just keep it in my little bottle here rather than carrying the big one around. And all I'm going to do is pop the tiniest little drop at the side of each of my colours. Okay, it doesn't need much at all. I've gone for sort of, it's probably about a couple of mil across. That is small, and then get that one sealed up again. It doesn't want to play. There we go. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the yellow because I've got that applicator on already. And first of all, I want to soak up that glycerin. So where I've put my little dab out here, just blot it up with your applicator and work it in. You want to push that glycerin into the sponge, and that's then going to become a carrier for the ink, and it's going to allow it to stay wet for that little bit longer. If I just picked up the ink on my applicator without the glycerin, it wouldn't glide across here as well as I would like it to. Right, so the minute now, I'm just going to grab my piece of tissue as well there, just to hold the card with. And when I bring it onto here now, this behaves just like an ink. Now, there's no way you could actually do that with your pen. You wouldn't get this kind of reaction at all. So can you see how smoothly that's just gone over on here? And then again, I'm going to swap these out. I like to keep a separate colour for each of the, a separate applicator
Okay.
for each of the colours. I'm going to do the same again just to reactivate that glycerin. Pick up the tan, and you're sort of working it and pushing it into your applicator so that you've got, just like you would do with an ink. And then I'm going to come back on here and I'm going to bring that next. And you can see how well those colours look together now. Now we bring them to you, we do the work so that you can actually do the playing. So those colours, you've got that yellow and the brown. Don't worry about the line here. I'm going to come back to that in a second. And I'm just going to add a little bit round the bottom as well. And then we're going to bring that lovely burgundy in as well. Okay.
How well does that work?
So again, I'm going to change my applicator. Same process again with that glycerin, and then pick up that ink, work it in so that you've got a nice sort of tool full of ink. And then again, I'm going to come back into the centre here with that. And again, look how well that blends with the tan. So that thinking's been done. You don't have to worry about it. I know a lot of people struggle with colour. Say, I don't know which colours to blend together. I get asked that quite a lot. This has actually been done for you.
Yes.
And then what I like to do is go back down my colours. So I'm going to go back to the tan. And where those two overlap, I'm just going to give it a little blend where the burgundy and the brown overlap.
Okay.
And that will blend out that line in between. And then I'm going to go back to the yellow one, and again here where we can see the two colours, if you just go over with the yellow one, it'll blend out that line and make it sort of like a seamless blend of all three colours. And then when you've finished, I'm just going to take my paper towel, my kitchen towel there, and I'm just going to give it a very, very light buff. It doesn't actually, the embossing actually resists the ink anyway, which is where you get the term from with the resist technique.
Yeah.
But just to be sure, just in case there's any ink on there, and you can see how that comes through now. And you wouldn't believe that that had been done with a pen.
Wouldn't.
So you've got that background there, and then I've just literally added a little bit to it here, and you can see how you would actually present it if you were going to pop it on a card. So I've just done a little tiny black background there, and then I've popped it on some gold mirror card, some satin mirror card, added a little gem, and then I've used my acrylic paint marker or your metallic paint marker, either of them would work, just to add a little bit of detail where this one was clear around the flower centre.
Yeah.
And just added that little bit of gold on that one. So just taking it from here to here, you know, if you wanted to add a little sentiment in there, you can see how pretty much you've got your card there done. You know, it's not difficult, but I just love, and that ink will go so much further because you've added the glycerin into it. So that was one technique, and then I've got a second one to show you with the same set of markers.
Okay.
So let me pop that one to one side, and we've got another set here now, which this time I've got the same cardstock. I've still got the watercolour card, and I've got I call these Polly Pockets. You know the clear pockets that you put your A4 things in.
Yeah.
This is actually one of those that I've just cut down because I just wanted a single piece. So obviously you normally have the pocket that you would slide your card inside and keep things safe. All I've done is just chop it and opened it up so that I've got one piece of it. And this time I'm going to use those same colours, but I'm actually going to pop them straight onto the card, onto the plastic here.
Right, okay.
So I'm just going to scribble, I'm going to pop my piece underneath so that I can look roughly where I want to work.
Okay,
All
now
right,
this
pop that
one,
over the
I
top.
don't actually know where you're going with this one, so I'm looking forward to this.
So I'm literally just popping, because this is a non-porous surface again, it's going to hold that ink on top, just like it did when we put it onto the glass mat.
Right.
And then again, I'm just going to add the same three colours. So this is that tan again that we used earlier with the glycerin. I'm not too worried if they don't quite meet in the middle because I don't want to contaminate the pens.
Right.
And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of that burgundy again. So I've popped my plastic over the top of the card that I'm going to work on so that I've got a rough idea where these are going to land.
Yeah, positioning it.
Okay, so we've got those three colours in the place there. And then what I've done is I've taken one of the little tiny pipettes. Now these came with the sparklings.
So they did.
So if you've got any little pots of the sparklings, but if you haven't, you can buy these as cheap as chips. And I've got a little bit of water in my pot here. So what I'm going to do is just use water. And I like it in the pipette rather than a spray for this one. And I'm just going to pop tiny little droplets which will sit on top of my watercolour card here.
Okay.
So what I want to do is transfer that colour to around the middle part of the card. So as many as you want there, it doesn't have to be too much. Yeah. And then we're going to turn this over and we're going to pop it over the water. And you can see straight away, so just then, by dabbing into it, the colours will blend together. So where there was a gap, you can push that colour into place to make your back. And you know that I'm always talking about making backgrounds. So again, just by spreading it out under the plastic there,
oh my God,
just drifting that colour, you can actually spread it into the different parts of the design there. And then again, have a look how you're doing underneath. That's actually, I'm quite happy with that one.
That's epic,
right.
Jan.
You can reuse this one because that just wipes clean.
Yeah.
So you can keep that one. All right, I've got a little bit going on there. And then, of course, you know, producer Johnny's in the building.
Yes.
You know what's coming next, don't you?
Hey.
It wouldn't be a show without my little friend here. Oh, she says. Are we not turned on?
Oh, we're not switched on.
Oh, John,
no.
seeing as you're there, would you mind just checking me that socket?
John's in the building too.
Magic touch. Thank you, my love. I had a little panic then. I thought it wasn't
hail
working.
King John.
Easy you look. Thank you. You were just popped in at the right time then. He must have known. So literally all I'm going to do is just dry that off with the tool.
I don't think he's turned it on.
It's never going to get old, this, is it? Never going to get old. Okay. So again, just dry it off. You can move that ink about and you've got the perfect background then to work on. And again, I'm just going to add a little bit extra to it. So once I've done that bit, again, you can pop a little bit of the same three colours. So I just want a little bit on the mat again this time. I'm going to go with the tan, and then I've got that burgundy colour. Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Can't get over that background, Jan. That's incredible.
And then this one, again, you can get these in most shops. This is just called a fan brush for the splattering. So I'm going to wet that one. I'm going to pop it into the colour. So we'll start with the red and soak up some of that. And then just extend this out from where I've got that colour. So the red's mainly at the bottom. Then we've got that lovely tan colour. So we'll bring that at this side. Now where it lands on the colour that you've already done, you'll get those lovely little watermarks.
Yeah. Where
Where it's going to land outside of the colour that you've already done, you're going to get the coloured splats to match. Oh, bit heavy-handed there, but you'll get the idea. So again, let's just get rid of the one that's on the mat there.
You
And
would
again,
have thought straight away you could do things like that, not off the bat.
this is why I like to show it, because, you know, the pens, yeah, if you want to colour with them, absolutely great,
Yeah.
that's fine. Pen to paper, they work beautifully. As I say, best medium is on your watercolour card or on the premium watercolour pads that we sell as well. You can find those on the website. But again, just making those backgrounds. I'm not going to dry it all off because, again, I've got one I've already done. But you can see where it's actually picking up the colour around the edge. But if you have a look in the centre there, it's actually doing that business where it pushes the colour around. So you're getting those little water spots on. And again, get your stamps out. All I've done is take one of our chalkboard stamps and just gone over it with black. And you can see, did a little bit bigger area there. Just added a few little gems to it. And again, you've got nice, simple, straightforward cards. Great for batch making as well, because you can reapply that colour. You very rarely get two the same, which I like about it as well. But just a couple of different ideas for you with those pens, not using them as literally direct pen to paper.
Can you guess which is now the most popular item on the show?
Well, for that price, who wouldn't?
Exactly.
9 colours for that price is ridiculous.
For that technique alone, with the Polly Pocket, phenomenal, phenomenal. Do you know something? Actually, that's a really good point, Johnny.
Yeah.
Really good point. If you do make and sell your cards, if you made a card just like Jan done a moment ago,
Yeah.
you could sell that and you could get more than what you've paid for with the pens
Absolutely.
themselves.
And you've still got your pens then to work with, haven't you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely crazy. Not surprised that comments have gone absolutely ballistic with that technique, the couple of them anyway. We have got Jerry saying, I was having a play yesterday with my tricolour aqua pens, so much fun. Bet you're going to be playing again today, that's for sure. Terry is saying, I have enough foam pads to have a foam pad for each of my watercolour and water reactive ink pads, thanks to all the birthday deals and the free ones, yet the same, exactly the same. Well, my water reactive, you know what I'm like anyway, I like to keep one just for each colour anyway, and I just stick it underneath each ink pad. Kim is saying my granddaughters are 5 months and 8 months old. A couple of questions we'll ask just in a second. Carol is saying, wow, that glycerin technique is awesome, I need to try it. It's been a while since I've tried it, I'm definitely going to be doing that as well. And you've seen Jan use the tiniest little dot.
My favourite's that with the glycerin, I
Yeah,
use it
so
a lot.
effective.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, because you may be familiar with aqua pens or watercolour pens, but you wouldn't necessarily think, add a tiny drop of glycerin, you can blend with them.
Completely alters the makeup of them, yeah. But you've
Completely.
still got that lovely rich pigment of colour with them.
You do, absolutely. A few of you are all saying exactly what Sarah Brown is saying. Oh my God, Jan, you are amazing. That technique is fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Suzanne is saying, wow. Laura is saying, yay, John. Betty is saying, well, that glycerin technique is fab. Kathy is saying, good morning. Audrey is saying, Jan has taken her work from a craft to an art. Love, love, love it. Amazing, Jan. So many comments just saying how incredible that was.
That's my job, and I love this side of it because I love trying to find out what else your products can do. Prices that we've got today are absolutely amazing for your product to do the concept it was designed for. But I like to find out what else it can do, which makes the product much more valuable. You know, you're getting much more for your money if it'll do 2, 3, 4 different things rather than just that one it was designed for. So yes, the colouring side of it, watercolouring. I know there's a lot of watercolouring artists out there, which I don't profess to be. So I like to try and find the alternative things that you can do with them. Yep.
That's good. That's a good way of thinking of it, Jan. Just 3 very quick questions, if you don't mind, Jan. Emma's saying, the first demonstration, what embossing folder did Jan use for that last
It was
card?
actually a stamp. So there are 2 different types of embossing. You get a dry emboss with a folder. So when you put your folders through the machines and apply pressure, you get a dry emboss. This is actually a heat emboss technique. So I used a stamp. This was actually one of our resist background stamps. Okay, so it was this way up. You can see there how that maps to the image on the design there. So what I did was stamp it with our clear ink and then added, so this one's the clear watermark ink, mine's a little bit grubby, but ink the stamp up, and this is just a sticky ink, it has no pigment in it. It's just a sticky ink, and that's designed to then attract the embossing powder. So in here you've got a really fine powder. And what happens then when you apply heat to it, it melts the powder and it sticks to the design, and you end up with that lovely, also all the white is actually the powder that's melted onto that stamped image. So 2 different types of embossing, dry embossing with a folder, heat embossing with the sticky ink and the embossing powder. So yes, it was actually Swirling Florals, which is from our Resist background stamp range. So that should be on the website if you fancy having a go.
And actually, this leads nicely on to the next question from Suzanne. Can we use any stamp for resist embossing?
Absolutely, anything you like. If you've just got a little tiny flower stamp that you like, you can do more of it and just stamp it to make a background. If you've got a bigger stamp and you just want to take a portion of it, but absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be a resist one. We just made these purely for this technique, but anything that you've got in your stash, if you stamp it with that sticky ink and add your embossing, the white works beautifully with this technique. You can use gold or silver embossing powder, but you get a really nice contrast with the white as a, you know, as an opposite for the colours that you're working with.
Perfect. Last one for now. Terry is saying, question for Jan. Leanne did a technique using salt water and bleach water in Academy of Colour. Can we use the Poly Pocket to do the same technique with salt water and bleach water?
Now, I didn't see the Academy of Colour, so I don't particularly want to answer that without seeing the technique. I'm not quite sure what Leanne did on that particular one.
I'm not either.
So I'm not able to answer that one. Now, you can use salt on here. You've seen us do the backgrounds. I know you've done it, Craig, before. I've seen you do it on your channel, where you've actually popped the salt over it to make a background. But salt water and bleach water, I would need to check that one out before I sort of advised any more on that one. So leave that one with me.
Absolutely. We're doing, Leanne's in the building for the next couple of days. In actual fact, we'll try and ask her today. If not, Leanne's in all day tomorrow. Yeah. She's in all day tomorrow as well. But I know Jan will do absolutely everything she can to answer it. I'm the same. I've not seen it yet, so I don't quite want to answer it and give any wrong info. Right, let's have a look at Spectrum Noir Discovery Kits. Wait a minute. Platinum price under £5 for your Spectrum Noir creative colouring.
What a fantastic gift for someone that's just starting their colouring journey.
That is bonkers.
Oh my days, yeah.
If you don't know what's inside, you've got 6 markers, you've got 3 printed sheets to colour, you've got blank sheets as well for you to use your own stamps if you want to, and you've got the guide for you to do your creative colouring. £4.79 or $7.99 platinum. If you're not Club Inspire, it's still a phenomenal price at today's price, $5.99, $9.99, giving you that saving of 50%. This is another one that's crazy. Spectrum Noir, this is your glitter pens. Glitter pen, brush pen. Now, I think this came up once before. It's not actually a brush pen when it comes to these ones. It's more of that hard nib.
It's a bullet nib again,
isn't it? And in actual fact, if you got your free sparkle pens during birthday event, they're going to complement these just perfectly. But these ones here that are $5.99, $8.49, platinum price once again under £5, £4.79, $6.78 for your 6 Spectrum Noir glitter pens. Illustrators, we've got some of them for you. Illustrators, dual tip brush markers. You're getting 12 in here. These ones are the landscape. $12.49, $22.47. Platinum prices under £10. $9.99 or $17.98. Jan Illustrator pens, full pack of 12.
Just crazy prices, aren't they? And I said they were good. I said at the beginning of the show that they were good. But yeah, I mean, the illustrators have got that gorgeous Japanese brush tip on one end of them. So any of you that like colouring things like hair or animal fur, anything like that, they're great for doing that nice flicking technique to get your colour down on the paper. Or, again, you know, they are an artist quality pen if you just what I call flat colouring, Craig. Not everybody's at the same place on their colouring journey. If you just like to colour in, they're a beautiful technique with the brush nib to get the colour down onto paper, So works however you want it to work. It doesn't have to be that sort of master blending, you know, that we do with an alcohol marker. They are a great colouring medium regardless. They're great for the kiddies too at that price. You know, some people might think they're a little bit hefty for the kiddies to use at full price, but while they're on offer like this, the beauty of the alcohol markers is that you don't get that overlap. I know when I used to colour when I was younger with felt tip pens, I used to get really annoyed because you got that sort of overlap that never went away. But with this one, and there's so little alcohol in them that obviously as long as you're in a ventilated room, it wouldn't damage the kiddies at all. So depends where you're at with them. Absolutely. You've got your set, grandkiddies, son, daughter got their set. What a lovely way to colour together. Now, when we are sticking with our alcohol inks, this one here is your alcohol, it says re-inker, which they are for when it comes to, of course, your classics anyway, illustrators, but there is so much more you can do with these, Jan. These are great. There is. I know our Debbie was on, Debbie Fisher was on a few weeks ago. That's right, yeah, it was myself and Debbie, and she did some fantastic techniques with them, with the alcohol, Again, just make sure you're in a ventilated room whenever you're using anything with the alcohol ink in. There is a slight odour to it. Very slight, isn't there? It's not massive, no. There's not enough in them for it to be, you know, anything major. Yeah. $2.99 or $3.97, saving again 50%, £2.39 platinum, $3.18. That was your mint blue BT2. Then we're going to have a look at metallic markers, 6-pack. This is your antique minerals.
£5.99 or $9.99. Platinum price is under £5 for the 6 of these ones. £4.79, $7.99. These are a really, really lovely set, Jan, aren't they? The metallic
They are.
ones.
There's some gorgeous colours in there. Dual tipped again, so you've got a fine tip if you want to use them for writing. You've got that beautiful brush tip at the other end if you like the sort of calligraphy style writing, or again the colouring. Work beautifully on dark colours. Doesn't have to be black. It can be like navy, it could be brown, but the metallic element will come out much better on a darker colour. If you're using them on a lighter colour, you'll get more of the pigment rather than the metallic aspect. But yeah, work on both, but that metallic bit comes out beautifully on anything dark coloured.
Looks fab, looks really, really fab. Now, earlier we were talking about your paintbrush and water, or of course your water brush.
Must-haves.
What about your clear sparkle overlay, Jan?
I use these all the time. I have got one on my desk at home. I've got one in my bag that comes here with me, and I've always got the third one as a spare. When I take the spare one out the packet, I reorder it again to start the cycle again. I've lost count as to how many packets of these I've had through my lifetime here. I've got one here ready to use today. We're going to use this in conjunction with something in a little while, yeah.
Yeah, so good, so good at that price as well. The 3 of them, £6.49, $9.49. However, if you are platinum, that's going to come down to $5.19, $7.59, or as Jan quite rightly said earlier on, if you join Club Inspire and that's going to be your first order, you will also get your first order at platinum price, 20% off first order. Or maybe you've heard lots of things about a tri-blend and you've thought, right, I want to dabble in with the tri-blends. This is your tri-blend marker 6-piece set. This is your coastal blends. £9.99 or $14.99. £7.99 or $11.99 platinum price for your 6-pack tri-blend pens. We say 6 pens, but of course, Jan, it's 18 colours because it's all about that colouring.
18 different shades in there for £7.99. Again, the prices are ridiculous. Best time to buy them when they're on that offer. These are alcohol as opposed to the ones that we looked at the beginning, which were water-based. So this one's like a colour family. So for example, the first one on that picture there, you've got a shade of blue and you get a dark, a medium and a light shade of that colour family, as opposed to the ones we used at the beginning that were 3 separate colours. So again, if you're just getting into your colouring journey and you fancy alcohol markers, these are the ones to go for, because we've done all the hard work with regards to the blending. So your sort of alcohol markers, the classics are sort of the original range with the bullet nib and the chisel nib. The illustrators are a little bit more sort of artist quality with that lovely Japanese brush nib. The tri-blends, you've actually got those blends there ready, that 3-pen blend ready to use. So if you're just starting out your journey, these are an excellent one. And those are a real nice sort of vintage blend of colours in that one.
They really are really lovely set when it comes to your tri-blend. So yeah, give them a shot if you've never tried them before. A couple of quick comments. We've got a question as well. Yep. Caroline is saying, amazing techniques, Jan. Melissa saying, love watching Jan learn so much. She does amazing techniques. Jerry is saying that would have been perfect for a masculine card. I think going with that Polly Pocket one.
Yep.
Lorraine's asking, I'm not sure if there's been a mix-up or something here, but I'm going to ask Jan anyway. Elaine's saying, how do you heat the stamp?
With the actual, back to the...
So it must be back to that technique.
The resist technique.
Yeah, the rest.
Right, okay, let me explain it a little bit better for you then. So, for example, if you've got your piece of cardstock at the ready, all right, you're going to take, first of all, your stamp on your platform, whatever it is. So whether you've got the magnetic base or whether you use a different type of stamping platform, you would take it off here, you would apply it to your actual stamping platform. Okay, so get rid of the plastic. And then you would literally stamp. So ink it up with your sticky ink all the stamp up, and then you stamp it out onto your cardstock. And that will leave like a watermarked line art of your stamp. And then you're going to take the powder and you're going to spread this over where that detail has been put onto your card, and it will stick to anywhere that's got the sticky ink. And then you tap off the excess. I normally do it onto a spare piece of card. Tap off the excess, and all that excess goes back in your pot, so you use very little of your embossing powder, and then you heat this bit. So you would take your heat tool and you would very gently hold it, and you'll find that when the powder goes on, it's opaque. So it'll look pure, it'll look white in the on here when it's stuck to the sticky ink. Yeah? As you heat it, it will go shiny. The minute it's gone shiny, so you literally need to hover over one space until it goes shiny, and the minute it's gone shiny, you move on to the next bit. And I tend to just work my way down the whole thing like this, really slowly, watching it turn. It's quite fascinating watching that embossy powder turn. And the minute you get to the bottom, you're finished. So you're not actually heating the stamp itself. This is just the means of getting the picture, the design, onto your cardstock. It's actually a combination of the ink and the embossing powder that you're going to heat set. And then once it's heat set, you get that lovely white design, which becomes permanent.
Got you.
All right, so once it's set and it's cooled down, it's on there permanent, so you can do your other techniques over the top. I hope that explains it.
Yeah,
if I had time, I would actually do you the demo and show you, but I think we're going to run out of time.
Yeah, well, I know that absolutely explained it perfectly. Thank you for that one, Jan. Right, let's have a look at acrylic paint markers here. This is one, a range, not necessarily even ours to start with. It was always popular. It's always been popular, but then, of course, when COVID hit and people were just going out for their walks and that, picking up stones and they were doodling on them and then leaving them for other people, that seemed to kind of spark a lot of people's creativeness when it comes to acrylic paint markers. Now, we have got our essentials. So this is a 4-pack. £3.99 or $5.49, saving of 50%. Now it is down to $3.19 platinum price or $4.39. Now stones, for an example, is just one of an absolute abundance of mediums that you can then paint onto when it comes to these acrylic markers. Isn't that right?
I've got my stone here.
So you do.
At the ready. This is actually one of the other colour palettes, but yeah, this is actually just a rock out of my garden. Just cleaned it up. And I'm going to show you, I've got one part done. But yeah, this is just literally direct to the stone. All right, so yeah, there's a little gap in my rockery at the minute. So Steve keeps moving them around and I keep pinching one, but yeah, this is actually one of the other colours, but you've got that black in there, which is great for making things pop. So I'm going to show you that in the demo, and I've got a couple of other bits to show you as well.
Perfect.
Excellent. So shall we do that?
Yeah, let's go.
So
yeah,
I just wanted to show you the colours before we get started. And again, you know, the ones that we've got in here lend themselves to being on that dark background. Now, you can only just see, you can just make out that I've used the black one, but obviously black on black is not the best to show you, but I'll show it you on that rock in a second. You also get, like Craig said, the most whitest of white. It's the most white one I've come up with, other than there is another brand of paint marker on the market very similar to these, but they are so much more expensive.
They are.
So yeah, these are really, really sort of good value for money. So this is actually water-based acrylic paint. Okay, it's highly pigmented, the ones that have got the colours in, and it's got a 3mm nib on the end there. When it comes to you, those nibs will be clear. So just to get them started, like all of these that have got that sort of nib in them, you literally just pump them. Okay, and it will draw the ink through the valve to the nib and it'll be good to go there, you can see. They've also got an ink level indicator in as well, so you can see how much ink you've got left, whether you need to reorder them. You know, when they come on offer times like this is a great one to, as I say, just pop in your basket with whatever else you've chosen, because, you know, that price, that's less than £1 a pen if you're platinum on that £3.19. They've also got a ball bearing inside, so anything like that that's got that viscous sort of quality to it, it just needs agitating because it will settle. And again, I keep all my pens horizontal, so it doesn't matter what they are, whether they're an alcohol pen, a watercolour pen, a sparkle pen, a glitter, you name it, they all live on that horizontal. So again, because you've got some sort of weighting with that acrylic paint, it will settle in the bottom of your pen. Okay, so just give it a shake. You can hear that little ball bearing in there, which agitates the paint and mixes it all up for you. And then all I was just going to do was just finish this one off and show you the different colours. So we've got the white, and again, look at that. This is on black card, and you've got total coverage there with it. So that's your white.
Look at that.
Look at that. There's not a patch in it that isn't covered with that white paint. Pure, opaque, water-based paint. And the reason I've added the water-based bit in is because you saw the techniques that we did at the beginning. These will play nicely with your other water-based products. So anything that's got water in it as a base will play along with other water-based products. So again, you've got silver in there as well. And again, if you're not sure whether it's working, just pop it on the back, give it a little press. You'll find that that ink is flowing. So again, we've got this, and again, look at the coverage. They're really creamy. There's no scratchiness in them at all. Really, really creamy. So you've got silver. Okay.
So strong, isn't it?
And then we've got the gold in there. So a really useful set for Christmas colours, whether you're just wanting to add some decoration to things, or whether you want it. As I say, I like writing my Christmas cards with the metallic pens, or, you know, something like this. And then the last one in there, and again, it's a really nice sort of old gold. So you can see there.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Know what you mean by the old gold,
That old gold, that proper sort of old-fashioned. It's not bright and brassy, it's not the yellow gold, it's a proper, and you can just see, it's quite thick on that first, but you can see where it's starting to dry. Here you've got the true colour. So you've got the 4 different colours in there, and they will go onto lots of different mediums. So basically anything that's non-porous. So you've got things, obviously your cardstock will work beautifully if you're wanting to use them to just decorate. You know, it may be that you just want to add a little bit of decoration to something when it's done, and you've got a little bit of accent with them, just to add something to them. That might be all it needs in the corner of a card. When you sat there thinking it's got something missing, that might be all it needs. But then you can bring in things like wood. They'll go directly onto your MDF. You don't even have to prime it. I think in previous shows I've actually done a demo with that. They also work on glass and ceramic. So again, if you have a little look at my jar here, I've just started drawing freehand on here with the silver first, and then I've outlined it with the black. So you put it over the white card, you'll be able to see that a bit better there, yep.
Look at that, isn't that pretty?
Straight onto glass. So again, I've not done anything to the glass, I've not prepped it in any way whatsoever. I've literally just got my pen at the ready, given it a shake, and you know, you can decide to do, you know, it might be writing on the back of here. We did a flower on there. Well, let's do a different type of flower. You know, you can actually literally, if I bring it over the white, you'll be able to see there a little bit better. It just sits nicely.
It really does.
Onto that glass. Beautiful coverage. And then it takes about sort of 20 minutes or so to dry. So just leave it somewhere where it's going to be safe to dry. And then again, I've just brought... gaps all over my garden. So again, this one's been done with some of the colours, but while I've got that black one out, it goes beautifully straight on to those rocks. And again, it just gives you that bit of definition between those colours. So all I've done is edged the bits that I've done there.
Really makes that difference, doesn't it?
Can you see how it sort of brings out that definition there? So again, just to follow where I've got the colours in. And on the website, there are other colours in this particular range. But like I said at the top of the show, we've just chosen one element to bring you on that 50% reduction today. So the others will be their normal price plus your Club Inspire discount. But this particular set, you see what a difference it makes.
Big difference.
You might want to just add, you know, a little bit more sort of detail in there. But this one, and again, where we go up to our caravan on the coast, there's a lot, like you said, Craig, when we went into lockdown, there's a lot now where people are actually decorating these. And then you put your details, and it's usually a Facebook page, and you put your details on the back. Obviously not your personal address and things like that, or numbers. It's usually just a name, a date, and the details of the Facebook page. And if you find them, you can take a photograph of them, pop them on the Facebook page, and then you re-hide them somewhere else for the next person to find. And the kiddies love it. My little Toby was ecstatic because we found them. Someone had literally gone right down the seafront and left them at intervals along the seafront, and he was just absolutely blown away by it. He just couldn't wait. He was off down the seafront to find the next one, and then we had a look at it. We took a photo of it with the details on the back, popped it on the Facebook group so that the people that did it know that you found it, and then you pop it in another place for the next person. I just think it's a really good idea. It's brilliant for the kiddies to do as well. And of course, these are non-toxic, so they're fine for the children to use. They're water-based, if they get them on clothing or hands, they'll just wash out.
They will do.
Win-win.
Yeah. It is. And do you know something? You're right enough. It's a win-win. It absolutely is a win-win. We do have many with lots of items in your baskets. We're going to give you a moment just to check out. Just to say as well, Suzanne, Craig, did Leanne give you a sneak peek as promised yesterday? So I've not seen Leanne as of yet. I was on with Leanne yesterday. We're talking about new products. We were showing some nesting dyes in our cartload, saying how much I love nesting dyes, of course. And she says, wait until you see what we've got coming next year. She says, if I was in today, I have to nip through. She's going to give me a little sneak peek.
I might have to join you.
I think you
I might have to be your +1, Craig.
You can be my +1 anytime, Jan. Absolutely. So, yeah.
I like a little sneaky peek.
Oh, I love it, yeah.
Then the hard part's keeping the secret, isn't it?
We've got a collection coming out at the start of the year, a nature garden collection. I'm like, oh. Anyway, rightio. So, do have a couple other questions, but what we'll do is we'll give you an opportunity to check out your baskets, because we have had and do have incredible 50% off deals that I know you're wanting to get a hold of. Now, myself and both Jan, we've touched upon Club Inspire. If you're thinking, well, what is it? What is it all about? What's the discounts? The boss is here to tell yourself all about Club Inspire.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
If you love Crafters TV, we've made it easy for you to watch us wherever you are. Whether you catch us on your tablets or take us with you on your mobile phone, it's easy to watch us anywhere. From here to here. Maybe don't watch us here. It would be easy to watch us here. Probably the easiest place to watch us is here. Crafters TV, with you wherever you are.
Many of our viewers bring up time and time again, and that's our wax seal gate.
Thinking, Joe, it might not work as well because I've put too much. Joe's laughing at me. Oh, I've forgotten to put me thing in place. Oh, Joe, don't...
Words, but I think that doesn't engage with that and can come out all wrong.
Water.
That wasn't the one you just washed your brush in, was it?
Sorry, yes, but it doesn't matter.
No, it wasn't, was it? It was. Are you kidding?
I'm going to have to say, it's a slip of the tongue. I'm going to say it's maybe to do with my Scottish accent. I'm maybe going to say it's because of Mr. Ben Mosby. He is, well, yeah, he doesn't help matters.
I've made pots that have exploded when I fired them. I've done zips in inside out. It happens to everybody.
We've all spilt our glitter all over our project or knocked the water over.
You're right.
I've just noticed I've got my dress on inside out.
So I was messing about doing some backgrounds with the sparkling, took the lid off it and managed to catch the pot somehow, and the whole thing came towards me, down my front, across my lap, onto the floor.
Went to reach for the water and, you know, do the tapping with the and so there was less tapping and more sort of a tsunami. I've got some...
Oh, it's not on your project, is it?
Yeah.
Oh no!
See, that happened to us all as well. We have little mistakes and bloopers, not just at home, we do it live. It's the fun, isn't it? It's the fun, Jan. All about that. I've got a couple of questions here. Charlotte is saying, do you need a special heat tool or a hairdryer for your embossing?
It needs to be a heat tool for the heat embossing. Big main difference between them, the heat tool has got a lot of heat and not as much blow. A hairdryer has got much more blow and less heat. So as far as the embossing powder is concerned, with a hairdryer, it would just blow your embossing powder away and there's just the sticky bit left. So you do need a heat tool. It doesn't matter whether it's one of the little soft ones like I have, or whether it's a directional heat tool, which you'll have seen us use sometimes, which are the longer ones. Either of those work, but definitely not a hairdryer for this particular technique.
Thank you, Jan.
Too much blow.
Too
Too much blow.
I'm saying nothing. Sophie is saying, Jan, would using your heat tool, I have the same one as you, speed up drying gilding wax or just melt it?
Now then, depends on your type of gilding wax, because the Pebeo wax, the solvent-based gilding wax that we use, like these, dries pretty much in seconds.
Yeah.
So I can actually put this on a project and then buff it literally as soon as I've finished it. So these don't take much drying. You can get water-based gilding products as well that come in lots and lots of different colours. I haven't tried doing them with a heat tool. If you've just got the little gentle one like mine, little waft over it, probably wouldn't hurt, but if you leave it on too long, any kind of medium like that, it often tends to bubble it.
Yeah.
Now that is a look in its own right. You've got another technique there where you bubble it up and it makes like a different surface, but if you're wanting it to stay smooth, I would let it dry naturally with something like that.
And it's funny you saying that, and that's why I want to ask it as well, because Leanne last night on Cartload done a demonstration exactly that. Die cut a butterfly in black, put gilding wax, buffed it, and straight away it was dry.
Yeah.
Within, I think it was about 10 seconds or something.
It literally does dry more or less as soon as it's hit the sort of the non-porous surface.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Incidentally, as well, we still actually have that deal we had on the gilding wax. All 5 of them, 25% off. They're across on our website, so check them ones out if you want. Do have an influx of questions, so I think what we'll do is if later on, if we ask them all in a one-er,
That's
and
fine.
then because I know between myself and Jan, we've got loads of things we want to show you, and it's always good getting Jan to answer the questions.
I just think it's, where else can you ask a question and get a direct answer from it? You know, you're normally waiting several days for an email to come back or whatever it is. I just think this is a brilliant platform, and I will always try my best. And if I don't know the answer to something, we've usually got someone in the building that does know, so we can go and check for you, like Leanne, who's a font of all knowledge.
Funny you saying that as well, because Terry came back and said, thank you, Jan, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate that, obviously, going back
with
to
the one from the
the
Academy of Colour. Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at mystery bag. So this was really, really busy last night. So this is one of the items Jan was alluding to earlier on that we've brought back in to wake up call, because wait until you see what's inside if you've not seen it. Now, what I'm away to show you, Jan, I'm not sure if you know this, but the mystery bag is £40 or $50. Platinum price comes down to £32 or $40. This is worth the bag alone.
I was just about to say those two products together. You've got your money, haven't you?
£20.
And I bet you've got something else in that bag.
Oh, I do.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I do. Tri-Blend's worth £20 and Aqua Pen's worth £25.
Yep.
So that's what you're paying for, and that's your bag covered.
Brilliant.
Pack of your Illustrator pens. So you've got your delicate, so that's your 4-pack.
Look at those colours as well. Will the colours vary, or are they set products?
This is what you're going to get?
Yep,
so
beautiful.
And that's a good point. If you duplicate on the mystery bags, you will duplicate on the products.
Yep.
What I'm showing you is what you're getting. So you're going to be getting that delicate collection from the Illustrators. What about your art liners? So maybe you're going to go for that set earlier on. Maybe you'll then, of course, get an extra one with this one, gift it, or have one in your craft bag, have one in your craft room, or if you go to craft classes or craft crops, always handy having that liners, or as Jan said, nice to just write with if you want. They're included. So, free and free. Then, pastel,
Oh, wow.
Sparkle
pens.
free, water-based, absolutely free. What about Midas ink pad, rose gold, free. What about Classic pen, free. That one being vintage pink.
Easy.
What about a 4-pack of spritzers, absolutely free. And then
Like
what
Mary
about
Poppins bag over
It is.
there.
That's what Leanne said last night. Kept going and going and going. So our huge craft map, so that one being 13 by 19 inches craft map. Now, of course, you can chop them down if you want to, but also free. So free, 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 and it works out that you're paying for them too. Look at your saving. You're saving
Yeah.
£61.91 or $98.25.
Yeah, you've seen me use that a lot, that craft mat, and like Craig says, it's actually double size. I cut mine in half
So do I.
so that it's usable and travel to bring with me when I travel. But if you imagine that again, that is exactly what you've just shown there, Craig. So I bring this with me regularly to use to work on. So yeah,
Perfect.
just a different surface. And if you're working with inks and things, you'll get a different reaction with them on here because you've got like a silicone surface on it as opposed to the glass. So the inks behave differently on the two different mediums. So again, it's worth trying just those different effects.
And
But
just
that
say
is
as well,
just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And although we're featuring them yesterday, it's just to let you know that these are on shop today. So if you go across on our website right now, you will find them on shop today as well. That's your Spectrum Noir mystery bag. Yes, great saving, but it comes down even less if you are platinum to £32 or $40. That's that one. Jan might have another one.
I didn't want to feel left out.
No.
So I've got my own mystery bag. So this is actually from Leanne's cartload last night. And it's approaching limited stock. So there's not a lot left. There's less than 10% of the stock left. But I'm going to and again, when you see what's in here, if you weren't watching last night, I didn't see last night's show. So I've just had a look through here and I was like, wow. So we're looking at £30 or $40 on the price that we're offering you today. All right. Platinum, £24 or $32. But if I just bring one item out of my bag, all right, and this is actually the metal die that you can make the spine for your mini albums with. This is worth the cost of the bag alone. Massive piece of metalwork in there with that lovely decorative edge for you to make the spine that would go round. And again, you don't, if you might say, well, I haven't got the rest of the kit. You can just put plain pages attached to it to make your mini books. Use all those lovely decorative paper pads that I know you've all got in your stash.
Absolutely.
This is worth the cost of the bag alone, all right? And yes, of course, we've got more things in there. So we've got a cut and emboss folder. I love these. I was working with one of these as a card for a family member not long ago. So cut and emboss, again, if you're not familiar with that, the embossing folder has got a die inside it that creates this beautiful sort of circle technique in there. This is coming to you free. Okay, we've also got one of our spiral pop-out dies. So you've got the hexagon spiral there, attaches to either side of your card or the inside of a box lid, and the inside of the box pops out with that lovely spiral effect. This is coming to you free. We've also got a set of our inverted nesting dies. So the design's on the inside of the metalwork as opposed to our traditional nesting dies where you find the design on the outside.
Yeah.
Again, coming to you free. Don't forget, these are all coming separately. This one, we've only just launched this collection. This is a brand new item from Sarah Signature's Angel collection. You've got that gorgeous stamp and die set in there, coming to you free.
You can tell Leanne picked her favourites, can't you?
We've also got, it's just lost its middle, pop it back in there, paper pad. Again, not that long since this was released. This is the Country Lane. So again, Sarah Signature, 6x6 paper pad. You can see there you've got those beautiful designs, double-sided, coming to you free.
It's incredible, that
We've
is.
popped some embellishments in there. You've got some of the gilding flakes, gilding flakes to try. And not only have you got that, we've put it together as a little pack because you've got the adhesive and the little scrubby in the bottom that allows you to apply it to your designs. So again, coming to you free. Still not finished.
No, not at all.
Okay, I've got a Midas ink pad. We've actually got that blush, which is a beautiful sort of rose pink colour. And this is metallic. The Midas range is metallic ink. So again, remember what I said earlier, works beautifully on darker colours. And then to finish off, we've popped you one of our opaque ink pads in there to try as well. And this is Damson Wine, which is the darkest of the purple range in there. Again, lovely pigmented ink that will take your embossing powder because it stays wet a little bit longer than the blending inks like the water reactive or the quick dry one that we use for the stamping. So all that here is, I can only just get it in my hand, is all free because this one is worth the cost of the bag. So like we said, less than 10% left. If you're interested in this, I would get it in that basket and get it cashed out now because they're not going to last, I don't think, until the end of the show.
I don't think so. No, not many left. Not many left at all. A lot you actually loving, well, both bags, but specifically Leanne's one. We have got Julie is saying, I've ordered the creative colouring set for my granddaughter's birthday this month. She loves crafting with me and colouring too. That's be a lovely, lovely gift for, you know, yeah, your son, your daughter, your grandson, granddaughter. Lovely. Nice to have their own little set as well that they can just play, colour along with you. Linda's saying, I love to use the clear sparkle overlays on my Christmas cards. That's where I use them a lot as well. It works really, really well. Because I know we touched upon how to draw the colour out, but of course you can go over with your clear sparkle overlay on top of your pattern paper or something like that.
I like adding it to the, you know, because all the papers are sort of not got a finish on them, they're all a matte finish. You can just pick highlights. So for example, if you've got a paper that was covered in butterflies, you could just pop that clear sparkle over the butterfly wings and actually enhance the paper on the paper pads. I love doing that bit, Craig.
Really nice, really nice doing that. Linda and actually both Caitlin herself are saying, beautiful handwriting, Jan.
Oh,
love your handwriting.
I get that a lot, but I used to teach handwriting when I was at school. So again, I had to perfect mine. Otherwise, it wouldn't have looked very good, would it?
No.
So writing on a big whiteboard, trying to do handwriting, and we taught a cursive handwriting, which is where that style comes from.
I
but,
see, yeah.
I still handwrite a letter today, much rather than sending an email to
nice
someone.
And personal, eh?
Yeah.
It's better than a bill coming through the door, isn't it? Really, really is. Also, as well, Caitlin is saying, Jan is so relaxing to watch.
Oh, bless you.
She is.
Mwah.
So good to watch from this side as well. Always fortunate being this side as well. As I said, I've not forgotten about the questions. We will ask them just shortly because I know there's another few. Come on, makes sense just doing them all in one little chunk. Here we go. What about some classics? Classics dual tip. You found these across on our website. Yes, they are on our website, but they are on that shop the day. Now, when it comes to this one, Brights, 12-piece, $9.99 or $14.97. You're a saving of £10 or $14.98. However, if you're platinum, you are all the way down to $7.99 or $11.98. This is for the full set Bright Classic Dual Tip marker pens. Absolutely crazy. These are ones that so many world-renowned artists, between them and illustrators, are using our classics. They're going from other really good branded markers, but they are choosing to come and use our Spectrum Noir because, in many people's opinion, it's the best of the best.
They are, and they are all artist quality. Even though we said the classics was almost like the sort of the starter range, they're all artist quality in terms of the way the pen's been put together, the ergonomical design, the nibs in them, and the ink, the quality of the ink in them. But we're bringing them to you, particularly today at a very affordable price. But even at their normal price, if you compare them, like Craig says, to some of the other brands around on the market, they are very, very affordable. So yeah, alcohol colouring is like the complete opposite of the watercolouring world. So everything that you can do with a watercolour pen, you pretty much can't do with an alcohol pen apart from colouring. So I've got my set of classics there at the ready, and these are a gorgeous set of bright, vibrant colours.
Aren't they?
So if I just take those out of the box there, and in fact, if I turn you the box over, you can see on the back here that we've got all the primary colours in there. You've got shades of blue, the yellow, you've got the red in there. You've got the secondary colours, we've got the orange, you've got several shades of green and the purple. You've also got pinks and turquoises and sort of jade greens in there as well. So you've got a real nice collection of colours. And whereas we tend to think of that 3-pen blend, you can blend different colours, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So you can see there you've got a proper rainbow of colours in this one. It really is beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
And you've got that 2 sort of nib. So this one's probably one of the smaller nibs. The Illustrator has the smallest bullet nib. It's a really fine one. Then this one. So for colouring smaller areas or writing, things like that, you've got that lovely bullet nib. And then on the other end, for filling in larger areas, you've got that chisel nib. So again, this lays colour down really quickly so that you can cover a larger area without having to use your bullet nib on there. So that's the Classique, as opposed to the Illustrator, which has that lovely brush nib on the other end. So they're all colour coded, so they all have a name and they all have a code on them as well, which you don't need to worry about too much unless you're collecting sets of them. But they're basically, for example, you've got DR1 is a dark red blend, and we've got number 1, the lower the number, the lighter the shade. So for example, the reds go up to about DR8, I think, much darker, like a really rich dark burgundy red in that one. We've also got, for example, JG3, which is jade green. Number 3, you're getting sort of to the mid-tones. The 1 will be lighter, the 4 or the 5 will be slightly darker, and that's how that system works. So different cardstock for this. I tend to work mainly on the Nina cardstock when I'm working with alcohol markers. As long as it's a smooth surface, there are lots of other cardstock out there. It will work on our multi-purpose cardstock. That's a nice smooth surface. What you don't want to do is use your alcohol markers with the watercolour paper. This is way too absorbent and it will literally drink up your ink and you won't be able to blend. You want the alcohol to stay on top of your card so that you can move it around and blend it. So what I've done is just grabbed a stamp out. This was just out of my box. I just went through the box and grabbed a stamp. These have been out a long time, not even sure whether they're still on the website or not. They may be. It's called My Cup of Tea. And producer Johnny's just going to have a quick look for us. It's got a nice little set of things on it. I just thought it was a nice one. It took my fancy. And I've stamped out the teapot and the little set of cups and one of the sentiments. It is in stock, producer Johnny says. So if you are interested in this one, just repeat that up. £7.99, okay, photopolymer stamps there. And you can see I've done a little bit of masking. So I stamped my cups out first, and then mask them over, and then stamp the teapot so that it looks as if it's gone into the background. And I've started a little bit of colouring there with those alcohol markers. But what I want to show you, I'll do a little bit of colouring, but I want to show you them in conjunction. These play beautifully with the colour blend pencils. So we're actually going to sort of do a little bit of progression from the alcohol markers to then adding even more definition with the colour blends. Now these work alone, standalone product, okay? Producer Johnny's just saying everything that I have always got a J on it, because when I'm teaching I need to know which are mine and which belong to wherever I'm teaching. So I used to do a lot of teaching at the store when I worked at the store. So yeah, so many of them belong there. This one's actually mine. This is actually a double set because I always keep one nicely. You can see where some of them have been used, but one of them's nice for this purpose, and then I've got my set that I use at home. But yeah, either of these will work alone as a colouring medium. Talk about these in a second. The alcohol markers, I'm going to pop a piece of cardstock underneath. You can see where I've started colouring that there is some bleed through on the back. That is perfectly normal. So don't worry if you've got some colour at the back of your cardstock there. So what I'm going to do is just take one of the colours. I'm going to go with that lovely coral colour. I'm going to use the bullet tip because it is a small area. And this is literally a case of just applying it to your card. Now, I like to use sort of small circular movements there. Okay. Now, your alcohol will always go on slightly darker than your finished sort of design, purely because you've got the alcohol in there, which will need to evaporate. So we normally suggest that you work in small areas. But again, it depends how quickly you lay that colour down. So it may be that you just want to do half of this and then get onto your shading. Now, what I always say to people at this point is don't be put off by alcohol markers, because everybody thinks, oh, you've got to do all the blending and the shading and make it look really, really good. You don't have to. If you want to just colour, and what I mean by just colour is basically just blocking in that area with colour and leave it at that. that is absolutely fine. If you just enjoy the aspect of colouring, this is fine.
It is.
You know, there's no law that says you have to start adding other colours to shade it. What I'm actually going to do is show you that you can blend in a different colour, because you may be more used to the tri-blends that have that 3-pen blend. But I'm actually going to bring in the red one now. So we've actually gone 2 completely different. We've got CR, which are the coral shades, and DR, which are the dark red shades. So technically 2 different families.
Yeah.
But I only want to add a little bit of this into an area where that stamp's got the shading element, the cross hatching on it. And I'm just going to bring a little bit of that red into the corners there, little bit here, and it's enough to just add a suggestion that there is a little bit of depth going on there. And then, as I say, let it dry. You can actually shade with the same colour. So if you let it dry and then add a second coat, you'll get a slightly darker shade than you did at first. But can you see how that red's actually just brought that little element of shape to it?
It has.
Now, I've said many, many times before that a lighter colour will bleach out a darker colour. And what I mean by that is if I just bring the smoother cardstock up. So, for example, let me use that chisel tip just to show you the coverage here. So if you saturate your card with that alcohol colour, the coral is a lighter shade, all right? So all I'm going to do is pop some lines through it, and we'll come back to it in a second.
Okay.
All right, so what I want to do here is just nudge the edge of where I put that red down. I'm not going to go over the top of it. I'm just going to nudge the edge so that it's got a natural blend into where that coral shade was laid down, okay? But if I bring this one back in now, can you see the cross-hatching with the coral? Because that was a lighter shade, it's drawing out the red colour. So any lighter colour will bleach out the darker colour, okay?
Wow.
So how are we doing for time? We've got plenty of time. Let's have a go with the yellow one.
Okay.
I'm going to do yellow and orange together on this one. So the top one here, let's move that one out of the way a second. Again, just bring it round and add that colour. So the first layer is always just saturating that cardstock. So you want plenty of colour down. You can go over it a second time if you wish,
okay,
but make sure that that area is nice and saturated with the alcohol, because it needs to be wet in order to blend and move that next colour around. So once we've got that in place, okay, I'm then going to bring in the orange one, which again is a completely different family of colour.
It is,
but
isn't
I
it?
just want, again, where that sort of cross-hatching is on the stamp there, I just want a little bit in those edges. And yeah, at the moment you think, oh, there's a definite colour difference there, Jan. There is, definitely, without a doubt. But again, bringing this one back and nudging that edge of it now, it's sort of suggesting that the yellow one bleeds into the orange one.
It really does.
And what happens is where they touch, you'll get that lovely blend now. So the two sort of become part of the same thing rather than 2 separate colours. Okay, so you can just see there now again where we've got that illusion that it's more round. This one I didn't do any shading on, and the blue one, it just looks really flat. And then I said I'd talk to you about the colour blend pencils. Okay, so these are actually a waxed based colouring pencil. Okay, so if I open these up, really good quality again. There's been a lot of work. I know Leanne spent a lot of time perfecting these. And again, let's have a look. I'm just going to pick a greeny coloured one to work over that green there. You've got a wax core that's got a high percentage of wax. And when I mean the core, I mean the colour. The pigment runs through the centre, encased in wax. The reason we chose the wax is because it's a better carrier than some. I know when I first started out my crafting life, I went and bought one of those great big tins that had about 50 different pencils in it, in every colour you could imagine. But the less expensive ones have a lot of filler in the core, things like chalk. And what it does is it actually sort of alters the way the colour, the pigment behaves. So the fact that this is in wax really good quality. The other thing is how many times have you sharpened a pencil, Craig, and the lead's broken in? Yeah? And you end up with a little tiny stub of a pencil about this big. Because these are wax, there's actually a way of repairing them. So if you were to drop one, and it would crack the core inside it, just something nice and warm, so maybe a hot water bottle with a little bit of warm water in it and lay it on top, wax will melt. So you don't actually want to melt it until it's runny, you just want to warm it enough that it solidifies again in the core there, and then that means that you've got no cracking when you sharpen. And the other top tip that I can give you for these is any pencil sharpener. We actually sell a Spectrum Noir pencil sharpener, brilliant for these, designed purely for the pencils, but any pencil sharpener, turn your sharpener as opposed to the pencil. Think about using, if you've ever used an electronic sharpener, which my kids used to love when I was at school, you put the pencil in and the sharpener does all the work. You don't stand there and turn the pencil round. No. Let the sharpener do the work, and you'll find that it cracks the wood much, much less than it does if you were turning that pencil. So that's your care as far as these are concerned. And then these work beautifully over the top of your alcohol markers. So you can start and add. If you want to take it to sort of that next level, you can start and add your shading in with the crayons over the top. And because they're a wax base, they leave a lovely sheen on your work as well. So again, just all I'm doing now is just going over where that shading is on the actual line art of the stamp, and just bringing in some of that extra darker green, just to give you the illusion there again that it's actually a little bit more round.
It is, it's giving that illusion.
Than sort of being flat on the paper. Again, a little bit at the bottom here.
Looks
and
so
a little
good.
bit on the spout. So, you know, if you want to sort of add that extra little bit, and you see there now where it's starting to develop it. So if I bring out the ones that I did at home, this was my sort of, started out as flat colouring here. Then we took it to working, this was just with the alcohol pen. So we've gone from being reasonably flat to adding colour with some of the darker pens. And then taking it to that next level where you start adding in the coloured pencils as well.
Wow.
And again, top tip with something like this is remember to ground it, because these are just sort of floating around in the air on your design. You know, what's actually happening to them. So just ground it. And all I've done there is take one of the pencils, one of the lighter shades, and literally just gone across the bottom, filled in the gap so that it looks as if it's sat on something there rather than it just be floating around. And I know you like this, Craig. I've seen you do this quite a lot. It's not in here. I took a grey pen from one of my other sets, and I just like to go around the outside of the image, all the way around the outside of it, and it sort of lifts it. If I bring these up a bit closer for you to have a good look, we'll get our George to come and have a look at them. This one doesn't have an outline, it's just the line art of the stamp against the white cardstock. When you actually put that little shading round it with the pen here, it almost again raises it off the page and just gives that illusion that it's not flat. Again, it's optional, it's not a necessity. No. And then I've just matted layered them, and then that last one I've added a few of the little colour drops on there. So again, you know, taking it to what, and this is the bit that I always stress with colouring, there's no right or wrong. If you want to use a pen and colour in an area and leave it there, absolutely fine. If you want to go through the stages and start building up the shading and then maybe introducing your crayons, your colour pencils into that, take it as far as you wish, you know, do it in stages. I started out just colouring things in, and then I started having a play around, and it really came together for me when the tri-blends came out, because those ones have got those colour blends sorted already for you. You've got that 3-pen blend there ready. You don't have to think, well, which one shall I use with it? It's there in a pen. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely perfect, but you get a much more sort of precision colour with the alcohol markers, whereas the watercolouring, I think, is a bit more dreamy, and you can do that sort of colouring outside the lines with the watercolour. It's a bit more forgiving. It looks very sort of artistic, whereas this one, it is more of a sort of a set colour.
Yeah.
And there aren't many techniques you can do with the alcohol markers unless you start adding in neat alcohol, which is the ones that I was referring to that Debbie Fisher was doing with the isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, they are just mainly a colouring medium. Having said that, you can colour other things. I tend to buy a lot of either clear or the dewdrop gems, and you can colour those in to match your design. So if you've not got a colour that you're after, use your alcohol markers. You can colour metal charms with them and things like that. So if you've got, I've got a drawer full of metal, you know, the little charms that come with some of the signature collections and things like that. You can colour things like that with them as well. So yeah, really, really useful again to have in your kit, and certainly at that price on the screen today. It's remarkable.
It really, really is. And yet again, every time you talk about something, you explain something, you demonstrate something, the comments go crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little recap of what I've got here, and then I'm going to give Jan just a little moment in time just to get yourself sorted, and I'll ask her the questions that you've got coming through. Now, we've got the colour blend pencils that Jan was just showing you there. These ones here, 24 piece, they are the primaries. Let's bring them in here. So you do see the colours along the bottom. What I am also going to do as well, turn them around, it gives you another visual insight as to the 24 colours that you've got. $12.49, $17.47, or platinum comes down to $9.99 or $13.98. And once again, the primaries, another visual as to see how they would look if you just colour them straight on. Lots of different techniques as Jan was explaining, and you can always have a look across on our YouTube as well. $9.99 platinum or $13.98. 70% has gone of the Spectrum Noir mystery bag. £40 or $50, or £32 or $40. That's platinum. You are going to be paying for your tri-blends and your aqua pens. That's pretty much covering your mystery bag. But as free and extra, you're going to be getting your pastel sparkle pens. You're going to get your delicate illustrator pens. There's a question about these I'll ask in a moment. You've got your 6-pack of art liners. You've also got your rose gold Midas ink pad. You've got a vintage pink classic pen that we can see here. You're also getting your 4-pack of your water spritzer tools here. And then you're also getting your 13 by 19 inch non-stick heat-proof craft mat as well. All of those absolutely free. No wonder 70% has gone. Right, let's dive straight in, and we have got a few questions coming through. Let's start off with, so Kate is asking if they are, so this is going back maybe like a couple of demos or so.
That's okay, yeah.
Kate is asking, if they are water-based, does that mean they are alcohol-proof?
Are we back to the paint markers?
I think that was the paint markers.
The paint markers.
So if they are
water-based, are they alcohol-proof? There's one way to find out, isn't there?
Have a wee look.
There is one way to find out. That is a very good question. Let's have a little look. So let's try it with the black. That'll show up best, I think. So if we go onto a piece of card with the black marker.
Okay.
And lay down that. We need to make sure it's dry before we do anything else with it. But I think the question is can we use the alcohol markers in conjunction with it and it not bleed? So let's take one that's going to show up nicely.
Great thing with us, you can just ask questions live.
So I wouldn't normally apply heat to alcohol markers, but I do need that to the paint markers, but I do need that to be dry.
You do, don't you?
Obviously, it needs to be set before I would go near it. Obviously, if it's wet, it doesn't matter whether it would play or not. It would definitely bleed into the other colour. So I've just dried it off with that one for speed while we're on air.
Okay.
And then I've got a green alcohol marker. Are we ready?
Let's have a look.
Look at that. Not budging.
No, it's not.
So again, you could sort of start and colour in there. And it's not
Wicked.
dragging
That's incredible.
that black out.
What a great question, Kate.
Yeah, oh, there we are.
Really good question.
So
Thanks for
yes,
showing
they
that,
play
Karen.
nicely together.
They do work really
Technically,
well.
they should, because they're opposites, they should.
Yeah, they
But
should.
it was worth, and this is what I love about Crafters TV. We can try
Exactly.
it here and now and give you an answer.
Exactly.
Yep,
There you go.
fantastic.
Kathy is also, so this is also going back to the paint marker, saying, which varnish would you use on glass after you use the pens?
They would never be dishwasher safe or anything like that. They are only decorative. If you did want to seal it, we actually do a spray and shine, I believe it's called, in one of the aerosols, which is a varnish in an aerosol can. So a little bit like the spray adhesives that we have. In fact, I can just see the one I'm after. All right, so this one, spray and shine, it has a green lid. And if you've got access to these on the website, this is actually a varnish in an aerosol can, high gloss varnish. That would actually go over your glass, but even with the varnish on, it would still only be a decorative element.
Yeah.
They're not made to be put on ceramics and then put through dishwashers or anything like that. It is just decorative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, there's kind of two questions run along side by side with what you're saying. Kelly is saying, if they are water-based and you put them outside for people to find, wouldn't it wash away with the rain?
No, because once they're set, once they're dry, they set. Yeah, so the
Perfect.
water-based element is while they're still wet, which means that you can actually play with them. But once they're dry, if I actually, again, got my water here, look. Take this one. It's just sitting on the top
Just
of it.
sitting, nothing.
Nothing happening. So once it's dry, it's set.
It's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So
to
being
see
able
that.
to show you, I think, is even better than
It
just
is.
taking my word for it, you know, and I'm quite happy to try that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that hasn't moved at all. The water's just sat on the top of them, look.
because it's dry.
Yeah.
And then that leads on to Sandra saying, would you spray varnish to the stones after painting them? Well,
You
kind of
could. The
explained
spray
that,
varnish
yeah.
would work on the stones just the same and it would give it a lovely sheen. It's not, it says high gloss on there, but when I've used it in the past, it's,
I don't see it as high gloss.
no, not unless it's been changed. That
Yeah.
threw me a little bit because I would have said more like a satin finish
Yes.
on it, but it does say high gloss on there, so I'm just wondering whether it's been changed.
It could be.
Recently.
That could be another one we could put to the team because I completely
Yeah, because
agree
I
with
thought
you.
it was more like a satin finish on it, but I may be wrong. It does actually say on the front of that can, high gloss varnish, but that would work over the stones to protect them if you wanted to preserve them as well.
Perfect.
Just takes about 30 minutes to dry. Spray it outside. I usually put a piece of kitchen paper down, spray it outside so you're not getting it on things
No.
that you don't want, and then leave them to dry for about 30 minutes or so.
Another good question. Deb is asking, can I use Spectrum Noir Tri-Brush on watercolour card with water?
Spectrum
Spectrum Noir Tri-Brush.
Tri-Brush are alcohol markers,
That's
I believe,
right, yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah.
So on the water, you can use them, it will work, but it will drink up your pen. It'll drink up the ink in the pen because watercolour card is made to be very absorbent. So it's a slightly different makeup of card. Watercolour card is layer and layer and layer and layer and layer upon top of each other. And it's made to absorb water to go with the watercolour techniques. If you use alcohol on here, it will work, don't get me wrong. Let's get one of the pens back out again. It will definitely work on top of here. So you can sort of use them on here without a doubt. No problem. But if you're doing colouring techniques, it will sort of start and soak in and it'll drink up the ink and you'll find trouble blending. Because what you want is the ink to sit on the surface of the card to blend it. It needs to remain wet. This will soak in and pretty much dry instantly. So I'm not saying you can't use it. It depends what technique you're wanting to do.
Brilliant,
Yep.
excellent. While we're still sticking with the alcohol pens, Rosalind is saying, is there a significant difference between Illustrator and Classics? I have both, I just want to know.
Right, the colour scheme and the ink is identical in both. Let me just grab, I don't have the...
Okey-doke.
Let me just grab an Illustrator. All right, as far as these two are concerned, it is about the makeup of the pen.
Yeah.
So if you remember, I said the Illustrator had a really nice, fine brush tip. So the light coloured one's the Illustrator. Can you see how the bullet tip's actually finer than the Classic? All right, but the difference is at the other end of the pen. So the Classic's got that chunky nib on, okay, and then the Illustrator's got that beautiful brush tip. So it depends what technique you're going to do, but it's the same colour family and it's the same coding aspect. So if you have, for example, this one's a TB3, which is a true blue. If you had that code in an Illustrator, it should be the same ink.
Yeah.
But obviously, different application as far as the chiselled nib. As I say, great for laying down a lot of colour at once if you've got a large area to fill in. Whereas that brush nib, again, you've got, you know, you can just see you've got that ability to do that lovely flicking technique if you're wanting to do things like grass or hair or animal fur, things like that. But the point's so fine that you could get really into the smallest areas to sort of fill in, you know, little bits if you're wanting to do the colouring. Yeah, so that's the main difference between the two pens. They are both alcohol inks. They're both part of the Spectrum Noir range. They're both the same colour families. It's just the design of the pen with the chisel nib and the brush nib and slightly different size on the bullets.
Perfect. I've just got one more for now because that actually leads on with the Classic pens. We've then got, Susan is saying, I'm just checking, the Classic markers, are they the same ones with the rounded ends? Just a new shape to match the Illustrator ones?
The rounded...
So I think when we very first brought out Classics, we changed the shape,
Right, the original Spectrum Noir pens were in a black barrel. They were slightly different shape. Yeah, these are more sort of hexagonal now. They were a bit rounder. I've still got my original ones. And the bullet nib was bigger. Okay, now those still work. If you've got those in your kit, they still work absolutely fine. But Leanne did an enormous amount of work on improving the quality of the ink and the quality of the nibs in the Classic range. So this technically replaces the original range. So what I did with mine, as my original ones are running out, I've started replacing them with the Classics.
Okay.
All right, so that I'm now building up. I don't have a full collection of these yet. I'm just building them up as I go along. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that original set. You may find slight differences in colour. For example, like I said, these two in the same colour family would be the same ink. With the original pens, you might find a slight shade difference because, as I say, Leanne worked really hard with the team on the quality of the ink in these. And as I say, that the actual nibs that we bring to you, So these are almost like a replacement for the original set. But that's not to say that your original set are obsolete by any means. I still use some of my original ones, even now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that one, Jan. Also as well, just say so many comments, absolutely loads, just saying how much they love seeing you, Jan, how much they love your demonstrations, how much you're inspiring them. Lots of people just saying thank you as well for what you're showing as well. There was just one or two other questions, but what we'll do is I will ask them just before the end of the show. I promise. But you have... well, I had the Classic pens that I showed you, but I think, Jan, you've got something else that is another essential within our
It is. When we talk about core tools or essentials or basics, things like that, if you're starting out craft, if you own an electronic die cutting machine, you will know that the plates are what we call consumables, which means that they will wear out. Now, I get asked a lot as to how long they will last, and that question's not an easy one to answer because it depends how much you use them. If you're like Craig or myself that use them all the time, they don't last an awful long time, but again, mixed in with other machines. I know, Craig, you love your Gemini Mini and your MIDI, don't you? I've got the Mini sat on my desk. So if I'm just using a small die, I'll run it through one of the handheld machines rather than putting my big plates through. But you are able to buy the plates individually. If you just wanted, for example, a nuclear plate, you can buy just one plate. If you just wanted a new magnetic shim, those come to you like so. you can just buy the magnetic shims on their own, okay? But what we've done is we've put you a set of all of them together. So these are for the original Gemini, our sort of daddy Gemini, for want of a better word. And we've actually put together the full set. So in here, you've got 2 clear cutting plates, which is like the bread of your sandwich. It's the top and bottom part. Everything else goes in the middle. So you've got 2 of those. You've got a plastic shim in there and a magnetic shim, and that's the bit that goes inside. So it's like you slice a ham and you slice a cheese that goes in the middle. And the magnetic shim, brilliant, with all the grid markings on it, and you've got sort of the sizes. So if you're wanting to layer up something and get it in the right sizing, really good to place it on there. And then you've got the additional shims, which sort of come in handy, not necessarily every time you use the machine, but that metal shim's there for that extra bite if you're cutting a really detailed die, something like that, or glitter card I tend to use my metal shim with. And then you've got your embossing shim, which is the sort of scrunchy one, the silicone one, and this is for embossing a metal die. Now again, for want of confusion, we talked earlier about dry embossing and heat embossing. This is embossing a die. So this goes through the machine with your metal dies, a whole different ball game. Refer to your instruction manual if you haven't seen that before. But we've got a full set for you there. And am I right in thinking these retail at £9.99 each?
Something like that.
So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plates there, and we're bringing you those today at £39.50 or $67.50. And if you are platinum, just look at that platinum price. £31.60, that's almost half price, isn't it? And $54. So again, things like this I tend to buy when they're on offer because they're not going to go, it's like buying a jar of coffee, it doesn't go off. You know, so when they're on offer, pop them in your basket, take the benefit of the deal, whether you need them or not. And then I've got a special place that all my new ones live. And then as soon as one's had it and it's decided it goes to, you know, plate heaven, we bring out the next one, okay? We've also done exactly the same deal for you. Well, not exactly as far as price is concerned, but combination with the junior plate. So again, there are 2 of the clear cutting plates in there. We've got the plastic shim and the magnetic shim. And then we've also got your metal shim and that little silicone rubber shim to go in with the embossing. So 6 plates in total again. And we're bringing these to you today for £29.50 or $39.50 at normal price. Well, I'm saying normal price, at the reduced price for you. But again, look at that platinum price. We keep talking about platinum prices. Obviously, there are other levels of Club Inspire, and all those discounts apply. But I know there are so many. I was reading a comment the other day, and I'm sure the lady put that she was 14 times platinum. And I was like, wow.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yep.
But $23.60 or $31.60 if you're wanting that platinum price. So again, these are sort of like Craig said, staples, they're essentials. You know, if you're using an electronic machine, they're never going to go to waste.
Not at all.
Okay, so get those while they're on offer. Rather than paying full price for them.
Absolutely, yeah. Another one that's a really good one. What to say as well, Lauren and Joanne, you were the last 2 questions coming up a moment ago, so I will ask your questions just in a moment. We have got art liners. Really did want to show you these before we end Wake Up Call, because these are another absolute phenomenal deal. In actual fact, Joanne, these might touch upon within your question in a moment. We'll wait and see when I ask Jan. These are your art liners, black marker, 6-pack. You have got 0.8, 0.5, 0.3, 0.1, 0.05 and the brush. £6.49, $8.99, gives you that saving of 50% like we've been showing throughout Wake Up Call. Platinum price comes down to $5.19 or $7.19 for all 6 of them ones. Really nice set to have in many different ways in which you can incorporate them. So Lauren's actually asked this a couple of times. Jan, you mentioned metal charms. Can you share a few ways in which you would craft with them? I have a bunch too, but never know what's the best way to incorporate them with projects.
Metal charms. Well, once you start thinking metalwork, if you're bringing that into your card making, you're almost touching on mixed media there, because all that means is mixing up the mediums. So cardstock and metal, they're great for just adding an accent. I like to use them if I've made a little bow to go on a card. I often use either a bit of clear thread or a bit of cotton and actually attach them to the bow so that they hang from the bow, and use them just as part of the bow as an embellishment on your card. You can use them on invisible thread in things like, you know, if you make your spinner cards with the little element that spins round in the centre, if you add a little charm top and bottom on your invisible thread, you can get those to spin at the same time. Again, lots and lots of different ways, and colouring them means that you can colour them to match your project if you don't want them to be silver or the gold colour that they come in. But yeah, so many different ways that you can use them. Just sticking them on something, you know, don't have to be attached to anything. You could just stick them on with a little bit of hot glue.
Absolutely.
Or a bit of your tacky glue, if you don't use a hot glue gun, would work with them, yeah?
Thank you, Jan. And final one, Joanne is saying, Jan, my daughter loves the watercolour pens. She also likes to sketch. What would be a good pencil to sketch with that she can also use aqua pens with? So that's a good question.
That is a good question, because we don't do a range of sketching pencils as such. Wherever you use any kind of pencil, whether it be lead or graphite or whatever it's got in it these days, that would probably show through your watercolour medium. What I would tend to do, if you've got any of the colouring pencils handy, is to use a very, very light version of one of the colouring pencils, whether it be, if you're using the watercolour as a colouring medium, use the colour blend to do the sketching. So maybe a very pale grey or a light sort of pink tone, depends what colour families you're wanting to work with your colouring. If you're using alcohol as a colouring medium, then I would use the aqua blend pencil to do the sketching with. But yeah, we don't actually do a range of sketching pencils.
No, we don't.
Might have to have a word with Leanne.
Yeah. As well as all the love for everything you've done as well, a lot of love for us actually spending a bit of time and asking the question. So I'd say as well, thank you to Johnny and George for allowing us just to spend that bulk of time.
It is educational, and I love the fact that people are not afraid to ask a question, because I know I used to think, oh, it's a silly question, I don't want to ask, but please do. We will always try our best for you.
And guess what? That's not it for me and Jan. We're going to be back later on. So thank you as well, all the comments, questions coming through from Caitlin, but myself and Jan, we're going to be back 6 o'clock here in the UK, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time.
Opening that craft vault.
We're opening it up for sure. In between time, you are going to see Sarah and Ben across on the Crafters Companion USA Facebook page for an HSN preview. You're going to be able to have a look to see what's going to be coming here very, very shortly. Thank you once again, all your comments, all your questions. We will see you again later on today when we open up that craft vault. See you later.